There is a land where the world's oldest empires rose and fell, where the first declaration of human rights was carved into clay, where poets wrote verses that still echo across continents, and where, for 5,000 years, every great power on earth has tried and failed to ignore its existence. This is Iran. Not the country in the headlines, the one that history remembers. Long before anyone spoke of Persia, a civilization thrived on the Iranian plateau. The Elamites built the great ziggurat of Chogha-Zanbil around 1250 BC. It still stands today, 7 centuries older than the Parthenon. They developed their own writing system, independent of Mesopotamia. They waged wars against Babylon and Assyria, and they left behind a mystery, a language no linguist can fully connect to any known family. The Iranian plateau was never empty, and it was here that the world's first superpower would emerge. 550 BC, a tribal leader named Cyrus united the Medes and the Persians and changed the world. Within 20 years, Cyrus the Great built the largest empire in human history, from the Aegean Sea to the borders of India. But Cyrus did something no conqueror before him had done. When he conquered Babylon in 539 BC, he did not enslave its people. He freed the Jews from captivity. He let the conquered keep their religions, customs, and languages. No conqueror before him had done this, ever. The Cyrus Cylinder, a clay document from Babylon's ruins, is often called the first charter of human rights. Historians debate this. Many argue Cyrus acted from calculation, not idealism, that the cylinder was propaganda, not a declaration. But the fact remains. In a world where the conquered were destroyed, Cyrus offered an alternative. It outlived him by 25 centuries. His successors built Persepolis, one of the ancient world's greatest capitals. They laid the Royal Road, 2,700 kilometers, with relay stations that carried a message across the empire in 7 days. The first postal system, standardized weights, measures, and currency across dozens of cultures. And then they ran into Greece, Marathon, Thermopylae, Salamis. But for Persia, it was a frontier skirmish. In 330 BC, Alexander of Macedon conquered Persia. He burned Persepolis. But here is what most people don't know. Alexander didn't destroy Persian culture. He adopted it. He wore Persian clothes, married a Persian princess, tried to merge 2 worlds. His empire shattered, but Iran didn't. The Parthian Empire rose from the ashes, 500 years fighting Rome to a standstill, undefeated. Then came the Sasanians, the last great Persian empire before Islam. They gave the world chess, polo, and the concept of the centralized state. Their influence on Islamic civilization cannot be overstated. In 651 AD, the Sasanian Empire fell to Arab Muslim armies. This is often presented as the end of Persian civilization. It was actually its rebirth. They couldn't defeat the armies. They transformed the culture from within. Within 2 centuries, Iranians became the intellectual engine of Islamic civilization. Al-Khwarizmi gave us algebra. His name, from Khwarezm, the Persian-speaking world. The word algorithm, from his name. Avicenna, Ibn Sina. His medical canon used in Europe for 600 years. Persian. Rumi, the best-selling poet in America today, wrote in Farsi. And then came the Mongols. In 1219, Genghis Khan invaded. Cities like Nishapur were erased. Medieval chroniclers reported hundreds of thousands killed. Modern historians consider the figures exaggerated. But the scale of catastrophe was real. Severed heads stacked in pyramids. The ground plowed over so nothing would remain. But Iran survived. Again. This is the most important chapter for understanding modern Iran. In 1501, Shah Ismail declared Shia Islam the state religion. Until then, Iran was Sunni, like most of the Muslim world. The conversion was enforced, but the result was transformative. For the first time in 9 centuries, Iran had its own religious identity. The Ottoman Empire west, the Mongols east, both Sunni. Between them, Iran, Shia, separate. Isfahan, the Safavid capital, became one of the most beautiful cities on earth. The saying went, Isfahan is half the world. Its mosques, bridges, and bazaars drew travelers from across the globe. By the 1800s, Iran was caught between the British Empire from the south and Russia from the north. This was the great game, and Iran was the board. In 1908, they struck oil, the first major discovery in the Middle East. The company that would become BP was born. Iran's oil fueled the British Navy. The profits went to London. In 1953, Prime Minister Mossadegh nationalized the oil industry. British MI6 and the American CIA orchestrated a coup. Both governments later officially acknowledged this. This is the most consequential moment in Iran-Western relations. Everything that followed, the revolution, the hostages, the nuclear standoff, traces back to 1953. February 1st, 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini returned from 15 years of exile. Millions in the streets. Within weeks, the Shah's government collapsed. A 2,500-year monarchy replaced by a theocratic republic. Then, the Iran-Iraq War, 8 years. Saddam Hussein's Iraq, backed by the US, the USSR, and most Arab states, invaded Iran. About 1 million dead. Chemical weapons against soldiers and civilians. Iran fought largely alone. The scars of that war, a defining memory for an entire generation. After Khomeini's death, Khamenei became supreme leader. 36 years between isolation and calculation, sanctions, the nuclear question. But inside, a society of contradictions. One of the most educated in the Middle East. More female than male university students. Award-winning cinema. 70% of the population, under 40. Regionally, Iran built a network of allies in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Gaza. In 2023, the Israel-Hamas conflict escalated into a broader crisis. 2024, direct missile exchanges between Israel and Iran. June 2025, a 12-day war. January 2026, the largest protests since 1979. February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched joint military strikes against Iran. 5,000 years, and the thread never broke. Whatever happens next, Iran is not a country that appeared on a map one day. It is one of the oldest continuous civilizations on Earth. And its story, for better or worse, is far from over. Thank you for watching The Silent Chronicler. If this story moved you, subscribe. The past never stays buried.